This is video 2 in the series on how to build activity 4.2.5, the Automata. As you can see, we already have our box done. That was from video 1. Today, we're going to show you how to build the handle, the axle, and the axle guide. So let's get started. I'm going to zoom in here. Again, we have our top level activated. I'm going to go to New Component. I'm going to call this one Handle. We'll select OK. I'm going to put a new sketch right in this face on the right side. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I'm going to go up and I'm going to create a rectangle, a very specific one, a center point rectangle. I'm going to start right at the center of this circle. And I'll pull that out. And this is going to be 0.25, tab 0.25. This is the size of my axle. I'm not going to have to worry about a circle. I'm going to hit finish my sketch, zoom in again. I'm going to go to extrude. I'm going to collect that area. I'm going to take this back inside 0.25. And that's my first step. I'm going to go back to my sketch. I'm going to put a sketch right in the surface. I'm going to make a little bit bigger circle. I'm going to start right at the center. I'm going to pull this out 0.75. It's looking good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a line from this center point circle. I'm going to draw a line straight up, but I'm actually going to make sure that I get a center or a construction line. I'm going to pull it straight up. I'm going to make it 1.25. And we'll get it straight up. Okay, I'm going to get out of construction mode here. I'm going to make another circle right at the end here, and that's going to be 0.25. Now I'm going to put a couple lines in. Slide this down a little bit so we can see. Put another line in. And I'm going to take, and I'm going to use the tangent command. I'm going to make those tangent to my circles, to both my circles. And then I can go in, I can trim off what I don't want. So like these endpoints. I probably have a small one right there. I'm also going to trim off the parts of the circles that I don't want. That's looking good. I'm going to finish my sketch. I'm going to go to extrude. I'm going to grab that shape, and I have to grab this shape right there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull that out, and I'm going to make that 0.25 again. Okay. Last thing is I have to put my little handle part on up here. So I'm going to do a new sketch. Click my handle. Put a circle right at the center of this circle. Bring it out right till it touches 0.25. I'm going to hit finish sketch. I'm going to extrude that circle out. I'm going to pull it out about 0.75. And I like that. I hit OK. Next, I want to give this a little color so I can see it a little bit differently. So I'm going to go down under modify to appearance. I'm going to scroll down a little bit and I'm going to find paint. Glossy. I'm going to make my handle red, I think. So I'm going to make that red. Hit close. I'm all done with my handle. So I'm going to come up back up here and I'm going to activate my top level. Now, I want to make this, I need to put a joint in here. So we're going to go back up to our as-built joints. Now, it's selected at rigid. I want to change this from rigid to revolute. I'm going to pick my handle. I'm going to pick the side of my box. And now I have to pick where my point needs to be. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to hold the control key down. And I want to pick that center point. And there we go. All right. So there's my handle. Next, we're going to build the axle. So I'm going to zoom this in the middle. Let's look at our right side. And we're activating the top level up here, which is good. I'm going to go component. We're going to type in axle. Hit OK. I'm going to go to my sketch. I'm going to put a sketch right in this outside face. And now this is already drawn for me, this box, to make sure I can just go project. And I can grab that if I wanted to, but I'm pretty sure it was already selected. What I can do now is hit finish sketch. We'll turn it just a little bit. Oop, not too much. We're going to zoom in. I'm going to go extrude that shape. I'm going to bring it back this way. I'm going to bring it back 5.5. I'm going to hit OK. Now I want to give that a little color too. So I'm going to come down here to appearance. And I'm going to scroll down a little bit. I'm going to find my wood. I'm just going to grab a light colored wood. It doesn't really matter. We'll just grab pine and I'm going to plop it right on there. I'll close that up. I'm going to go back up, activate my top level. We're going to look at our right side. We got to put an as-built joint on there. So we're going to go as-built joint. Now I'm going to change this back to rigid. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select my axle and I'm also going to select my handle. Oh, let me undo that. Let's try it again. I'm going to select my axle and my handle. There we go. We'll hit OK. Isometric view. Now, to make sure this works, well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go over here where it says joints. I'm going to open that up. I'm going to go down here to that Revolute joint that I put in. I'm going to right click on it. I'm going to hit animate model. And now you can see that my handle is going and my axle is also turning at the same time. So I'm just going to escape to stop that. I'm going to close that up for a second. We're going to spin this around and we're going to put the axle guide on, or end cap. So I'm going to do is I'm going to look to the left side. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. We're going to go to it, make sure we're activating our top level, new component. We're going to call this axle guide. We'll select OK. All right, new sketch. I'm going to put it right here. I'm going to put it right on this face right here. It's automatically going to grab this circle here. I need to project my little square. So I'm going to grab this square and I'm going to hit project. I can finish I'll hit OK. I'll finish my sketch. And we'll turn it just a little bit so you can see what's going on. I'm going to extrude that shape. I'm going to extrude that back in 0.25. Looking good. All right. I'm going to go back to my left side. I'm going to do a new sketch right on this piece right here that is created. I'll make another circle. Right out here, I'm going to make it 0.75. Okay, I'll make sure I project my geometry in my box. I'm going to go finish sketch. And we're going to look at this at an angle again. We're going to go extrude. I'm going to pick that round circle and that inside circle. I'm going to extrude that out 0.25. I'm going to select OK. And now what I can do is I'll activate my top level. All right. And actually, maybe I should have went back and maybe I should have put maybe made that color so I can go back down here in my axle guide. I can activate that. We'll go to modify. We'll go down to appearance. And I'm going to drag red over. We'll make that also red. And I'll close that down. Now I'll go back up and we'll activate my top level. There we go. We need to put our as-built joint on. So I'm going to go as-built joint. I'm going to select my guide first, then my axle, and I have a rigid joint, so I'm all set. I'm going to hit OK. We're going to go to home view, and actually maybe we want to make sure that this is turning, so we'll turn it at this angle. I'm going to go back to my joints. I'm going to right click on Rev 5 and animate model, and everything's turning, everything's perfect. I like that. Yes, everything's going. So now we're all set on building the handle, the axle, and the axle guide.